All right, how's it going, everybody? This is Omar Thabit here. I am live with an award-winning host of WKAR Current Sports at Michigan State University. My man Al Martin is in the building. First of all, Al, I just want to tell you thank you so much for doing this interview, my man.
Yo, Omar, first off, peace and blessings to you and the entire MotivateMe313 family. It is an honor being on here with you, bro. And it's good seeing your face because, we go back to when you were a student at Michigan State, helping out WKAR's Current Sports, man. We were just chatting before you went live, man. But to hear all the amazing things that you're doing, bro, it inspires me. You're inspiring me right now. So it's a pleasure to be on here with you, bro, for sure.
Definitely, and the same can be said for you. You already know. For those of you that are watching, Al is one of my mentors when we were in college. Definitely gave great advice, and we're going to kind of talk about that too during the interview. I got my little brother Zach tuning in saying, yes, sir. Okay, Zach, nice to see you, man.
All right. What's up, Zach?
So we're going to get the interview started, man. People want to know about you, Al. So first, can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, man. It depends on where you want to start, right? I guess I'll just tell you first where I'm from. I'm born and raised, man, on the west side of Detroit. Grew up on Joy Road in Granville. Shout out to all my West Siders out there. And, grew up in the D. I went to high school, though, in Dearborn Heights, Michigan. I went to Annapolis High School. Had an amazing 4 years there. Learned a lot. It was a mixed environment, growing up in Detroit, which is predominantly black, and then going to a high school at Annapolis High School, which was predominantly white, but it was kind of a melting pot. I mean, I really believe, Omar, that experience kind of prepared me for that next chapter, which was college for me. And, it's so funny. When I decided to go to Michigan State University, I was the only one out of my graduating class that said, I want to go to a big time university, let alone Michigan State. So I came to Michigan State really knowing nobody. Other than that, because my brother is also an MSU alum. He had graduated Michigan State, so he brought me up for a few visits in the summertime so I can kind of get to know the campus and get to know some of his frat brothers. So I knew a few people, but not really like that. But I came to Michigan State, man. I majored in broadcast journalism. My concentration was sports reporting. And I graduated MSU in May of 2012, which it feels like yesterday, but dang, is time flying. Time used to fucking breaks, dude.
That's crazy.
Gosh, it feels like yesterday. I graduated, man, for all the sports fans out there. Draymond Green was a part of my graduating class. So Draymond has gone on to win, what 3 rings now, right? With the Golden State Warriors doing his thing, man. But anyway, so I graduated. I went back home in Detroit for, 3 months applying for, because I wanted to do TV. That was my thing, man. Majoring in broadcast journalism, I had a concentration on TV sports reporting. And, I sat back, Omar, and I applied. And I lived on my laptop, dude. I would wake up just applying for every TV sports reporter and anchor job that I found on tvjobs.com. So in my story in regards to this, in comparison to other students out there who want to do broadcasting, my story is one where I'm like, all right, people are probably, looking at this and saying, all right, Al, why are you complaining? It only took you 3 months to get a job. But dude, when you're so uber busy like I was in college, and then you go home back to mama and grandma and the folks, those 3 months feel like eternity, dude. It does. So anyway, 3 months go by. I got a call from WBKB in Alpena, Michigan, which Alpena, Michigan is out of 250 TV markets in the nation, Alpena, Michigan, Omar, is number 250. I kid you not, look it up. But they brought me in, bro, for a TV and sports reporter anchor interview. Did the interview. They gave me a call the next day saying, hey, we want to offer you the gig. At the time, I'm sitting there saying to myself, well, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I'm probably going to take it because I have no other offers, have no other interviews. Yeah. Kid you not, though, bro. I told them, all right, give me a few days. I'm going to think about it. 2 days later, WLNS TV6 up here in Lansing gave me a call. The former sports director there, Fred Heumann, hit me up and said, Al, and I interned there for 2 years. That's why internships are so important when you're in college, bro.
Definitely.
But I interned there, worked my butt off. They knew my work. Fred called me and said, hey, what are you doing? Trying to find a job, Fred. Well, we got an opening here. Just happened. You want to come up for an interview? I drove up the next day to hire me on the spot. And then, long story short there, I was there just 6 months, Omar, at TV6. 6 months go by. The radio presence, sports radio presence at WKAR, Earl Robinson, who was there for 39 years. I mean, this dude was a legend, Hall of Fame legend. He retired. I wasn't even interested in radio, but the station director, Gary Reed, who's a mentor of mine, big mentor of mine to this day, he reached out to me and said, I saw you doing the 11 o'clock sportscast. Are you interested in WKAR? I had no interest, Omar, until I whipped my phone out and showed the email to Fred Human, again, the former sports director at Channel 6. He said, Al, it's just an application. I applied, they hired me, and I've been there since April of 2013, bro, doing a daily live sports talk radio show. Crazy, man.
That is crazy. I want to just touch on a couple of things that you mentioned. First of all, believe it or not, I live 2 blocks away from Annapolis High School. I just moved, so I live in. Yeah, I know.
What?
I know.
Omar, you have no idea. When I say Annapolis High School, people are like, "What? Where is that located?"
Yeah,
bro, that's crazy. That's
literally,
crazy that you know where
literally, it's the part there's that baseball field. Softball. We already going playing a softball Sunday this Sunday right at that field in the corner right there. So I live right here. It's crazy, man. I know. It's
so
funny.
you know OW Best Middle School too, right?
Yes. I mean, I just moved here
as well.
Okay, I just moved here a month ago, but I'm starting to see the neighborhood and stuff. So I just want to let you know.
Got you.
The second thing is that 3 months. The reason why it's also long, maybe you can agree with me, is because maybe the people that you hung out with were getting jobs too, and you're probably still sitting back there and looking for a job. So that's probably why that 3 months was that 3 months was annoying probably, and you were just trying to find the right job. And the crazy thing,
all of my homies, bro. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my homies, man, in college, a lot of them were engineer majors.
Yeah.
So them engineer jobs, man, and those engineer internships pay.
Yeah.
A lot of my internships were unpaid, but they got jobs right out of college, bro. So yeah, when you see your circle around you, like, yeah, I'm moving on to this, and you just sitting there saying, all right, congratulations. It's like, all right, you feel restless, man.
And it's funny how everything worked out is that you found a job, and then the almost like the perfect one fell in your lap like 2 days later after you waited 3 months, which is crazy too. That's just all of it. It's interesting how all that all works out, man. And being patient, man. I guess you showed patience. That was a big decision that you made, because maybe you wouldn't be where you are today if you were patient enough to get that. Wait for that. The job.
It's so true, and Omar, the biggest thing out of that is God.
Yeah.
I am such a faith-driven man of God, and look, to everybody out there watching, man, if you have something that you want to do, and you know that you've legitimately, and you got to be honest with yourself, legitimately, honestly, you've put in the work. You know that you put in the work for whatever you're going after. You got to get to a certain point, man, where you trust that work is going to pay off no matter how many weeks, how many months go by. If you really want it, man, and you know that God is talking to you. Because I knew God was talking to me. There was a point I got so frustrated, I said, look, I throw it to you. And I kid you not, Omar, when I stopped stressing about it and I put it in his hands, doors start opening, bro.
And I kind of was hoping that you kind of lean towards that area, because I kind of knew that you were a God-driven person, and I think it's great to share that kind of stuff, because I felt the same way, and I know a lot of people that would relate to that story as well, man. So you mentioned that you work at WKR, which is crazy, because when I seen you, that means you're only like 1 year in WKR, because I think it was 2014 when I interned with you. So that's wild. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that, man. You was holding it down already after 1 year, man. That's impressive, man. So
crazy, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. So how do you like working there at WKR? And that's something you always probably been dreaming of doing. And what's your favorite part about working there? I know it's radio, but I know you enjoy it. Just judging off your enthusiasm, I could tell.
It's amazing. And what's funny, Omar, what you just said, man, I always, you probably always been dreaming about it. I didn't. My dream was to be, on ESPN Sports Center like Stuart Scott. That was everybody has like a broadcast inspiration in my field.
That's true.
Mine was the great Stuart Scott, cooler than the other side of the pillow. Rest in peace, Stu.
Rest in peace.
That was my inspiration, man. When it came to radio, I had never done radio. That's the crazy thing, bro. I had never touched a radio microphone throughout my entire 4 years at Michigan State. And this is, again, God just moving, bro. He can see something that you don't even see for yourself until he's like, bam, here's this opportunity. What you gonna do? You know what I mean? Because I seriously contemplated it, man. You know, holding down, I was used to just coming on at Channel 6 during the 6 and 11 o'clock news, you know, for 5 minutes and, you know, calling some highlights and, you know, bringing a few, maybe 2 or 3 other stories, you know, into a VOSOP package, which, you know, voiceover or sound on tape, and saying goodbye, I'll see you tomorrow or see you at 11. An hour-long radio show where it's just me talking and holding down the fort for 60 minutes? Bro, that scared the hell out of me. And I remember the weeks leading up to it, I'm sitting there doing all these mock practices before my show went live. I think we officially went live. Oh my goodness, I can't even remember now. I have to go back and see, but it was either May or late April of 2013. And I kid you not, I was so TV trained, Omar. You know, sports talk radio is, you got your notes, but you're talking off the cuff and giving your opinion. I was so not used to give my opinion. I wasn't trained that way at Michigan State. I was trained to be a classic journalist, you know, state the facts and let the audience, you know, dictate what they feel about the story, right? In sports talk radio, that goes out the window. Opinion drives everything. If you ain't got no opinion, you don't need to be on the radio. Sure. So I was so nervous with all of that. I kid you not, Omar. I scripted. I wrote out everything I wanted to say that entire hour for that first show, bro. And I was sitting there saying, what? Like, you know, like I was on TV, used to put my script in a prompter. Yeah. Bro, I was so robotic like Ron Burgundy. And I used to be like Ron Burgundy, man. Anything you put on that teleprompter, I was saying. So, you know, it's just so crazy, man. And over time, you realize that, you know, I had to just be me. Give my opinion. It's like I'm at the barbershop. Now it's a more formal setting, but it's like I'm at the barbershop or hanging out with my cousins and we're having these sports debates and doing it in a manner where I back up my points and provide facts. I had to learn all that stuff. And this is what it also comes down to as well, Omar. In your journey, whatever you want to do, you got to have somebody or somebodies who see something in you that you don't see in yourself, that are willing to give you a shot, that are willing to say yes to you. That yes is going to come. You don't know when it's going to come, but it's going to come. When it does come, do your best to prepare and knock it out the park. And Gary Reed was that guy for me. He saw something in me. And you know, his beautiful wife, Pat, you know, they saw something in me when they were watching, you know, the 11 o'clock sportscast that said, that's the replacement for Earl Robinson. I didn't see that in myself. And again, radio scared the heck out of me. And that's why you got to have great mentors and great people who are willing to say yes to you.
Strong words, man. Strong words, man. I'm loving everything that you're saying right now, and I'm hoping people are listening to it and watching it. It's very strong, man. Thank you for sharing that story, Al. Appreciate that. So we kind of talked about this quickly, but it's good that we're going to talk about this now. I see that you're taking up a new profession. I don't know if, but I guess we can call it a profession, which is acting. What made you want to go into acting? I see it, man. Hey, you got some Denzel in you, Al. I see it. I see some Denzel.
That's the highest compliment you can give a brother going into acting, man. Yeah. I see some Denzel in you, bro. And I kid you not, Omar. Like I before we got on this call and went live, I'm going through a study session in my class where I'm studying 3 of Denzel's films right now. So it's funny you bring that up, bro. It's funny you bring it up, but you know, to answer your question, you know, how I got into acting, it goes back to what we just talked about with my faith, right, and God. This is how it happened, bro. This was 4 years ago. I'm sitting in church by myself on a Sunday, and I'm sitting in church, and the pastor, and I want to give a shout out to Riverview Church in Hope, Michigan, Pastor Noel Haken. he's up there preaching, and he brings up the book of Esther. I'll never forget this day. You know, you had just days that you just don't forget. I'll never forget this day, dude, because it was just so in my face. He's preaching on the book of Esther, one of my favorite books in the Bible, and her story is so amazing and so like purpose driven. And I heard a voice. You know, when God talks, it is very silent. He ain't gonna yell at you. It's silent, it's still, but dang, is it clear. It was very clear. I want you to try acting. You need to do this acting thing. Now, Omar, I had heard this voice before, maybe like a couple of years ago, and I said to myself, yeah, but I'm doing the broadcasting thing, all in on that, like, I'm doing that, I'll get to it. You know what I mean? It's something I always wanted to do, but I'll get to it.
Yeah.
And I heard that voice before, but kind of ignored it. It was so clear. And I'm sitting there like, whoa.
Gave you probably chills, huh?
It gave me chills, bro. But what did I do? I got nervous, and as soon as I heard it, I'm like, yeah, I heard that before, and no, I'm good. I'll do it one day.
Yeah.
So I go home, and I always, with the gym being closed down now, I'm really missing it, man. But I always work out at night, especially on Sunday nights. I love working out on Sunday nights. So I'm going to work out. It's probably like 11, going on midnight, and I'm driving to the gym. And I had on my radio, Joel Osteen Radio. And on Joel Osteen Radio, he's a pastor down in Houston, one of the biggest churches in the nation, in the world, really. But I love him, man. He's so inspirational. And what is Joel preaching on as I'm driving to the gym? Kid you not, bro. It was the same exact message on the book of Esther that I had heard that same day. That morning, that Sunday morning when I was in church. I'm listening to the same message just out of another pastor's mouth. And I had to like stop the car. And I hear that voice again going in my head like, you need to do this acting thing. I remember I finished the sermon in the car before I went in the gym. And I looked up and I said, I just had a conversation with God, man. And I said, look, I don't know how we going to do this. I have no experience at all. I don't know how we going to do it, but we going to do it. From there, I kid you not, the next week, a friend of mine by the name of Joy, she's a good friend of mine who's like a brother to me. Joy is my friend Johnny's cousin. Joy just reached out to me on Snapchat out of nowhere one day, just checking on me. She's pursuing acting in LA and says, hey, Al, what are you up to? And I'm like, just doing my broadcasting thing, just having casual talk. And she says, Al, you ever try, ever think about acting? Came out of nowhere, bro.
It's crazy, man.
She hooked me up with my acting coach and mentor, Andrea Schultz, and bam, that's how it began, bro. And ever since then, man, I've been reading. I'm studying every day, especially in quarantine. Now, it's kind of been a blessing in disguise for my acting career because I've gotten an opportunity now to really just dive in every single day, online on Zoom every single day. Reading books, reading podcasts, taking notes, and more importantly for me, because I'm a guy who has to do it, just to do it, to really start to get it, just practicing at home. And I've been putting out these little scenes, that you've seen on my Instagram, man, where I'm kind of reenacting and kind of trying to get my own twist on different characters just to keep the tool sharpened and to learn. And it's been incredible, bro. And like you said, it is a profession, man. There's so much that I didn't realize. There's so much that goes into it, bro. I love it though. Yeah, I love it, man. It's been. I'm curious to see where this journey takes me, man.
And I mean, just off of your talk, man, it's just very inspirational. And I hope everything works out for you, man, because you seem like you're passionate about it. And I think that's the biggest thing is being passionate about what you do. So thank you, man,
Definitely.
for sharing that, man, for sure. And just moving on to the next question, man. You have some great stories, Al, and I'm loving that I'm hearing all these stories. I know people probably, at least maybe the people that you might tell them the story, but maybe from the outsider's perspective, the fact that you're sharing this with me, I'm so happy because people can now know, like, because everybody, at least me, I was like, oh, Al is acting now, you know what I mean? But now I know the story behind it, you know what I'm saying?
You know the story. And I always say this too, Omar, man, there's beauty in everybody's journey. There's something you can learn,
for sure,
from everybody's journey of life. That's the beautiful thing about life, man. And I think it was, I love the quote from, I don't think I know it was Nipsey Hussle who said this. I love the quote from the late great Nipsey Hussle that says that the greatest human act is to inspire. And I believe that, you know, in anybody I come in contact with, there is something that I can get some inspiration from, you know, and you just got to find it. You just got to find it, man. But when you open up and tell your journey and tell your story, man, there are nuggets there that you know, I don't care what profession you're in, that you can take and try to adapt in your own life, you know?
I agree, 100%, man, 100%, man. So the next question I have for you, Al, and I know people could kind of already get that off of you, just as off the way you're talking right now, is that you're a mentor for a lot of people. While I was at college, for those of you that weren't listening before earlier, is while I was at college, you know, Al mentored myself and a lot of other students that were in a specific class at Michigan State University. So why do you feel it's important to give back to the community and to the school, you know, that brought you up, which is Michigan State University?
Yo, and by the way, for those out there watching, Omar, you were one of our favorite students, man. One of my favorite students that I ever had, you know, and you know, you left us you said 2014?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And, you know, we've had a lot of students that have come after you, man, but, you know, your hard work and your passion, like you just talked about your passion for what we were doing at WKAR and still are doing, is something that's unforgettable. There's some students, you worked with me? I don't even remember, bro. But you definitely stood out, bro. But your question, why is it important?
Yes.
Why do I feel it's important when it comes to mentorship? Man, bro, if you're not reaching back as you climb, what are you doing? You know, I mean, we go through things in life. We have triumphs and successes in life so that we can help other people who are coming after us. That's what this thing is about. You know, if you're sitting there and you're gaining all this knowledge for self-gain and not passing that knowledge down, you blocking blessings, bro. You know, you are blocking blessings and you're not nurturing your soul if you're doing that. And for me, it's always been big and you know, it's all about who you have around you as well, who you have in your life as your own mentors, because if you got good mentors, they'll tell you got to give back like I'm giving back to you so that you can progress and fulfill that part of your soul. But for me, one of the biggest guys who taught me that was my grandfather. My late great-grandfather, the great Edward Martin Sr., when I was growing up, he was just such a big influence in my life. And I just saw how kind he was and how gracious he was to help somebody out, to give to somebody, to teach somebody something. That is something I learned from him. And then for me, it's just a unique opportunity. You know, I already have that passion, but it's a unique opportunity for me, Omar, to be at Michigan State University still as a professional sports broadcaster. We're in the college, as you know, we're on the second floor of the College of Communication, Arts, and Sciences at Michigan State University. We have a direct partnership with Joanne Gerstner's Journalism 418 class, where I'm having students come in. That was not that again goes back to God. That's God placing me in a position, somebody who recently just graduated, in a position who knows what I could have learned more, could have done better throughout my college years, giving me this crop of students to try and help them out so that they can reach their next level. That was a clear sign. Being at WKR was a clear sign that I needed to continue to give back. But for me, it's all about nurturing your soul by doing that, because I truly believe it's an obligation. It's an obligation, Omar. You know, you got to reach back as you climb, bro, because then our future will be much better for it.
I agree to that 100%, man. And, you know, we kind of discussed that too, like with doing this. I love how you said nurturing the soul, is because it just makes you feel good and it makes you feel better, and it almost inspires you as well to keep inspiring. You know what I mean? If that makes kind of sense. Like when you inspire others, you kind of feel great about it and you want to keep doing it. And that's what you do, Al. That's what you definitely do, man. And does that class, like every year, isn't it? It's still going on to this day?
It's still going on, bro. You know, it's simply amazing. I think we started that partnership. It was just a conversation that I had with L.A. Dickerson, who was a big part of my success and getting my foot in the door in multiple internships when I was in college. She's still there. For those who don't know who L.A. Dickerson is, L.A. Dickerson, actually, she's not just one of the best professors of journalism at Michigan State University. She's also the wife of Dan Dickerson, who is the longtime radio voice, now also on TV, Dan Dickerson. So L.A. has a lot of connections, but it started with a conversation with her and famed journalist Joanne Gerstner, who is also a professor of journalism at Michigan State University, and she's wonderful, and Joanne knows her stuff, man. But talking with those two, we said, hey, this would be kind of cool. Let's do it. This would be a great way for me to mentor students, and you guys also are working firsthand on the show. As you know, Omar, I mean, you guys come in, you guys will help with our headliners, you guys will prep sound bites, you guys would be in the field here in the greater Lansing area, reporting on stories and providing content that's played on our airwaves and on our website to help give you guys some clips and things to bolster that resume once you graduate. I mean, that's invaluable stuff, man. And you're also on the air. If you're interested in radio, you're on the air bantering about, why LeBron James ain't better than Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? So you get that experience as well, brother,
It's funny. I was about to put that question in here, and I was like, you know what, man? I don't want to do that because I feel like that's going to be a conversation that you're going to have everybody coming in. I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing, but we kind of focus on some other stuff this time. Maybe another day, another time we can discuss that.
Hey, if they want to, Omar, find me at 1 o'clock every weekday on WKAR, all right?
There you go.
Then you can holler at me about that topic,
true.
all right?
Exactly. That's funny, man. That's funny.
Right.
If my brother hears that, man, he'd probably comment right now and call and blow my phone up and stuff like that.
Hey, tell him to holler at me, man. I have that debate like every day of my life, I feel like, man.
That's funny, man. Well, all right. Well, thank you for sharing that, man. I appreciate that. My next question is more about current stuff, current news that's going on in the world. As you know, as an African American living in America, what are your thoughts on the whole Black Lives Matter movement that is happening right now? I mean, I know you kind of share some stuff on your posts, but to hear it from you too, I kind of want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, man. Where do I start with that? Right, it's such a loaded and heavy conversation, Omar. When I think about what's happening in America right now. And just this year alone, there's been so much going on. I mean, we're still in the midst of a pandemic. And then the George Floyd video comes out, right? And I, like many of you all who watched that video, it did something to me. That video was different. And just a moment, I'm gonna tackle why it was different for me. But because we've seen other instances, right? Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor. I could go on and on and on. That video, almost 9 minutes of watching a law enforcement officer put his knee on the neck of a black man who was crying out and saying, look, man, I can't breathe. Crying out for his late mother. For 9 minutes, as 2 or 3 other cops just stood there, it was so jarring. And you add that anger and emotion from us Black Americans in combination with the fact that we are going through a pandemic where we all got cabin fever, cooped up in the house, and we see something like that go down, the lid comes off. And the anger boils to a point where you have what you had in streets across this nation. And for me, I got to a point where I didn't care anymore. Where it's like, I didn't care about if there was violence in them streets, I didn't care. If there was looting going on, I don't care. I got to a point where I don't care. You go feel this wrath now. Because this is going on far too long. It's just a feeling of anger and frustration that I've never felt before, Omar. And as I sit back and reflect, man, look, this country has given us Black folk 400 plus reasons to go crazy. For over 400 years, we ain't been free here in America. So I'm honestly surprised that it took until 2020 for us to flip our wig and let you really feel our pain. So where we're at right now, and I've said this multiple times, I've been a guest on other shows, and of course I've tackled this on my show. It's not just sports with my show. I am not afraid as a black man, given the platform that I have, I am not afraid, and I will never shy away from this topic because it's my truth and it's my reality, and I have an obligation to tackle this. For me, the protests are great and they can't stop. I love it. And it's so awesome to see Black Lives Matter everywhere now. People who didn't understand what Black Lives Matter meant and didn't understand what Colin Kaepernick meant when he was taking those knees during the NFL season are starting to come around in a way I've never seen before. And I'm not just turning on my TV or looking in the local streets here in the greater Lansing area and just seeing black people protest. It's people from all different shades out there saying, hey, we got you. You know what I mean? And people have reached out to me personally who aren't black saying, hey, Al, are you okay? Hey, Al, you know, what can I do? Like, I love that. Those conversations are happening right now, and it's a beautiful thing. But it can't stop. The consistency has to be there. The momentum can't slow down. And right now, I'm so encouraged, but it can't stop, Omar. And another thing, I'm talking to all of my beautiful black people out there. What we got to change, a few things within our society as well. Get out and vote, okay? Vote. It's not hard to get up, stop with this whole mindset, because I kid you not, Omar, I hear this so much in my community. When I go back to the west side of Detroit, man, so many people I talk to are so ignorant and say, well, Al, they don't care about us black folks. Why should I vote? Why should I exercise my right? My vote ain't gonna count, all this and that. And I'm sitting there saying, how ignorant are we? Like, our ancestors have literally shed blood and tears to give us this right. And that is the easiest way. If you truly want to affect change in your local community, that is the easiest way to do it. So vote and fill out that dang census. Okay? Provide some clarity to our local government as to what our communities look like, so maybe you can help out and we can get some assistance. And next, and there's another thing too, man, when it comes to our relationship with law, two last points. I'm only going on a rant here, Omar, but you got me started, man. From this point, black police officers who are from local black communities need to be policing those same communities. I'm sorry, but there is a different perspective they have. They should not be in the suburbs. They need to be in our communities, formulating and cultivating relationships with the people they grew up with. Because and they need to be partnered with white cops or cops who aren't black, who don't understand those black communities. That's how you start the dialogue and start to smooth over things. It seems like common sense, but that's not happening right now. And then lastly, I have to say this because it's been heavy on my heart these last 2 days. Watching the black on black crime that has happened in our nation. When I sat there and watched what happened out in Atlanta, and so far now, whereas the National Guard is moving into Atlanta, with all the killings that's going on, look, man, we got to stop killing our own. We got to stop that mess. You know, when I'm watching, you know, an 8-year-old gets shot and killed just from being in a car or playing, you know, out in the front yard at a family gathering, something got to change. When I'm watching Ricky Smiley's daughter shot 3 times in the car based on some kind of street war that's happening, that's got to change. We are not helping ourselves if we are tearing down one another. So it's a lot we got to get to in the community, man. But in regards to your question, Omar, it's upsetting, but yet encouraging that we are starting to see some kind of change in our society, man. But my emotions have been everywhere, man, intermixed with this whole pandemic stuff that's going on.
Man, very inspirational right there, man. And I agree with everything you mentioned. You know, I love that idea. Like, even with, you know, Detroit, you know, I think, you know, as a city, you know, there's Detroit PAL, and I kind of know some people over there at PAL, and they're retired police officers. A lot of them are African American. And they just do a great job with the community. And so that's why I can agree with what you're saying. Like, they do a great job connecting with the people that are, that they connect with. I'm not saying it's perfect. Obviously Detroit still has its problems, but at least you kind of can see what you're saying and how it makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and look, there are great cops out there. Every cop ain't a Derek Chauvin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this the thing, man. Like, I talked to my grandmother. She's 93 now. My goodness, bless her heart. I was just on the phone with her not too long ago, and she talks to me all the time. We've been discussing race in America. And she's got a lot of experience, of course, and lived through a lot of things. And she always tells me that, Al, back when we were growing up, the cops would come and knock on your door, just say hello, how you doing, if you need anything, we're right here, and get to know you. That don't happen no more. It just don't. It's just like there is when you see the cops. I don't know if you saw the video. I think it was a week or two ago of a little boy who was caught on like a home camera.
Yeah, I did.
The cop car drives down, right? And he sees the cop car. He's playing basketball in the driveway. He hides behind a car, waits for he's doing nothing wrong. The kid is doing nothing wrong. He's playing basketball. But the fear that and the perception that we have when it comes to the cops, he hid behind the car. The cop car goes down the street and he continues playing basketball once the cop car is gone. My heart beats whenever I'm pulled over. I'm having these thoughts and trying to make sure I do everything right. Put my hand out the window, hey, officer, and make sure I'm following protocol. We shouldn't have to be having those thoughts, Omar. And so there is a disconnected dialogue and relationship when it comes to cops and the black community. And that has to change, man.
I agree 100%, man. I agree, and thank you for sharing that. And so I guess you kind of touched on it. I mean, I don't know if you want to touch on it a little more. It's basically what do you want to see happening in America in terms of race relations in the next 5 years? I put 5 years because I know it's not gonna take a year. It's not gonna just happen overnight. So 5 years is almost like a hope, I guess. It's something that we can hope for in the next couple years. What do you want to see in America? It could be police relationships with the African American community. It could be just white, black, everything, just race relations, I guess.
Yeah, what I would love to see, man, is more people voting. I kind of already touched on this. I want to see that the voting numbers in black communities go up. That has to be number one, in my opinion. And then number two, as it pertains to race relations, black people and those who aren't black, that relationship dynamic in light of everything that's gone down, I want to see those who aren't black starting to shut up and listen to what we got to say. Just listen. I've gotten that question a lot. Al, what can I do? As somebody who's not black, what can I do? Just listen and stand with us, man. Show that you care. Just doing that and listening shows that you care and you want to see some change. You know what I mean? That's all I want right now. And hopefully in doing those things, we can start to see some true progress in America. But there is far too much talking going on that aren't coming from the mouths of African Americans. We need to be, it's our time right now to be heard. You need to hear us right now. You don't need to talk. Listen, and then we can start to figure out some true solutions, man. Because it's such a major problem in so many different professions, in so many different conversations. You just don't wipe away 400 plus years of oppression in a matter of 5-10 years. Just don't happen, man. It's a slow brick by brick process. Omar.
Definitely, and I agree to that 100%, man. I love everything you're saying, man, because I think it's just important. People, you have to listen. You have to listen, and I think that's the most important thing. Even when people talk to me, people like just when they're having conversations about it, I just stay quiet. Because number one, you have no idea, and I'm talking about people that are not African American. Like you guys have no idea what they have gone through. And then number two is you just have to listen. You have to listen.
Right.
And in order to make change, first of all, you have to understand what it is that you are dealing with. And then to do that, you have to listen. You have to listen, and you have to be able to listen. So I appreciate you sharing that, man, and that is very important. And I kind of wanted to hear your opinion on that for the people out there that are watching, because it's strong words, man. Strong words, and I really do appreciate you sharing that. So thank you for that, Al.
Yeah, man. Definitely. You got it, bro.
Yep. So now we're going to move into some sports. I know this is what you do.
All right.
So I seen that you posted an article, so I'm kind of going to read it word for word. All I did was copy and paste it. So it was an article about NBA players testing positive for the coronavirus. So you wrote, just stop, put a lid on the season, and hit restart when the numbers go down. This is becoming mission impossible, especially when you talk about restarting the year in Florida, which is now becoming the hotbed of the virus, which still is. Our entertainment is going to have to take a backseat right now. It's a harsh reality, by the way. Hoop fans, disagree all you want. So why do you feel this way? And then once you answer that question, can you touch on, do you see this happening with the NFL and also college football, which is kind of around the corner? So why do you feel this way about the NBA?
Well, I'll answer that second part right now. I do feel that way about the other sports as well. I say this, man. When you evaluate how these numbers are growing by the day, Omar, by the hour, it is so unnerving. I just don't see how you are going to take an entire sports league and say, oh, here's a grand idea. Let's get this thing started and let's put the best basketball players in the world in the hotbed of the worst pandemic we have seen since, I don't know, like before time.
Yeah.
Since like the Spanish flu. Does that make any sense? And it's so crazy to me. Like every day, I think we just hit, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we just hit 3 million cases today. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, and every other day I'm seeing a new basketball player come out, some staff come out, a new team coming out and saying, yeah, our staff or a few players tested positive here. And I'm pulling my hair out and saying, are you kidding me? Like at this point, it seems like a big money grab to me, because these leagues are in a position just like, I always say sports are a window into society, because there are people out there watching you and I right now, Omar, who've got small businesses who are contemplating, man, should we get back to business or not, and screw the rules, because at the end of the day, I got rent, I got food to put on the table, I got babies who need diapers, having to make tough decisions. The NBA, again, it's a very small window, because you can't compare the millions and millions that players make in the NBA to somebody who's a small business owner at some mom and pop shop, right? That's a different grind for sure. But the NBA is looking at this and saying, well, we're losing a lot of money.
Yep.
Do we really want to go in the red here? Are we willing to risk? It's just like that small business owner. Am I willing to risk my health so that I can make some money here, because I'm not making any money? The NBA is saying, are we willing to risk our health, the players' health, coaches' health, the staff's health, so that we can put on a league to make a little bit of change here, because we ain't making no bread. And it looks like a money grab to me. They're saying, I don't care what the numbers are, let's put it out there so that we can honor these TV contracts and get these millions and get this paper. And that's just not right to me. It's not right. You're risking the health of these athletes. And granted, the counter argument, I know there are some people out there, because I've gotten this backlash on my show, people who are starving for hoops. Trust me, I am too. I'm one of the biggest NBA fans you ever meet in your life. I love the NBA, all right? But if it's going to be at the expense of the health of these players who, and again, I go back to this counter argument. There's some people listening who are saying, well, Al, these are world-class athletes. They are in the statistical category where we're talking about like 40, 50, 60 plus years old, who, if they get the virus, they may have some real concerns here. They'll be fine, Al, if they get it. Skip that. We're still learning so much more about this virus, Omar. I was reading an article on CNN today that said that if you get the virus and you may have no symptoms at all and may be fine, maybe what they call asymptomatic, but scientists are finding long-term neurological disorders that could come from just having it. This thing is still new. We don't know. There's so many unknowns that I just don't think it's smart to put money over health. And then, like, you know, like Kyrie Irving, you know, that's a whole other conversation. You know, Kyrie adds on the fact that Dwight Howard, by the way, came out the other day and said he's going to play with the Lakers. So he's kind of contradicting this point. But Kyrie Irving came out and said, look, now it's time not to be playing basketball. We shouldn't be playing basketball right now because that will detract and distract from the movement that is happening when it comes to the murder of George Floyd. And that's a whole nother can of worms. And I can see that argument as well. There's so many things going on. And yes, Omar, we look for sports to be our distraction. That thing that takes us away, right? That escape from from everything that's going on in the world, crazy that's going on in the world. But this pandemic is rising by the day. We don't need to see no basketball right now. We don't need to see any sports right now. That's just how I feel. As I stated, as you so eloquently read, disagree all you want. Disagree all you want, man.
Yeah.
And I do believe that second part, I do believe that the NFL, you know, the NFL has the luxury of not starting until like August and September. So of course they're going to say, yeah, we're right on track. We're fine. Just let these days go by. That'll change. The MLB is modified to a 60-game season now. And the players, I don't know if you saw this, but the players that make the postseason, they ain't going to get paid for the postseason. They'll be playing free baseball. And you already had that rift between the MLB and the MLB Players Association where they couldn't agree on contract terms and whatnot. Just bag it, man. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, Omar, whoever wins the NBA championship, okay, is it or is it not going to have an asterisk next to it? Come on, man.
Yeah.
If LeBron does get that next ring that makes him a little bit closer to Jordan, are we really going to sit there and say, oh, boy, that was a great season, LeBron. You did your thing. Or are you going to be saying to yourself, bro, that was the coronavirus year.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Come on.
That's just the sad truth. I mean, as much as they might, you know, obviously they're going to still go through that wear and tear. It is what's going to be. Like, there's definitely going to be people saying, and everybody's going to have that in their mind where they're going to say, you know, that was a corona year. It's an asterisk next to that year. Anybody. Like, it's just going to happen. It's just the reality of it. So it just sucks.
Yeah.
And you don't want to downplay a championship year, but that's just what's going to happen, you know, if the season
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we'll be 80 years old one day in the barbershop. As the year goes on, we'll be like, man, that last championship, I got no count. Come on, man. You know what I mean? We'll be sitting there like the scene from Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. Man, like, that don't count. We'll be arguing like that, man. So come on, dude.
I agree, man. That's funny that you say that, man. So, I guess some positive news. Ypsilanti's very own Emoni Bates and even Max Christie now. I think it was yesterday we made it official. 2 big 5-star recruits who just committed to Michigan State University. I know MSU fans everywhere is just excited. But do you actually think, let's start off, I mean, Emoni, I think Max Christie hopefully will, but how about Emoni Bates? Do you think that he'll actually play for Tom Izzo? Because, you know, obviously the role with going into the G League is possible for him, and who knows, the NBA might get greedy and say, you know what, we want this guy immediately. So there's that rule that can happen too. So do you see him playing for Tom Izzo?
You probably saw this post as well, Omar. If you didn't, man, I'll just say it. Spartan fans, this is beautiful.
I did see this.
Yo, this is the biggest recruit that Michigan State basketball has gotten since Irvin Magic Johnson back in the day. All right. This dude, I don't know if you saw the cover that Emoni did with Sports Illustrated, where they were saying, I kid you not, it's written Magic, Michael, LeBron, Emoni, and Imani's face is there, and they had this beautiful write-up like, oh, he's going to be the next LeBron James. I mean, he's like Jesus Shuttlesworth right now from He Got Game. I mean, this kid is the top high school basketball player since LeBron James. Spartan fans, I love you, but don't fall for it just yet. Don't do it. Don't get so emotionally invested where you're sitting there saying, oh, I can't wait to buy my tickets and see Emoni Bates run out the tunnel at the Breslin Center wearing that green and white. Because look, man, how many times have we been disappointed in the Tom Izzo era when it comes to the game that is recruiting? That's all I'm saying. Now, is there a chance, Omar? Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, there's a chance that Emoni could reclassify to Christie's class, right, and come out next season, actually. And he left the door open for that as a possibility. But like you said, man, I mean, the NBA may get greedy, and there's a whole thing, there's a whole article written up that I was reading. I don't know who it was from. I wish I could quote him right now. But they put together this beautiful piece on how the NBA planned on pushing up that rule that will allow players, top players in high school, to make that leap from high school to the NBA. But now with the coronavirus and so many uncertainties, that's going to be pushed now to the year like 2024 or 2025. But the NBA may look at this kid, just like you said, Omar, they may look at this kid and say, look, man, this kid has like Zion Williamson hype. Like, let's push up this rule and get him in the NBA ASAP. And hey, it's great gesture time in Michigan State, but I'm gone. And this is the thing too, and I had this counter as well when I put this out there, that I don't think Emoni Bates will ever, unfortunately, play for Michigan State. I had people, tweeting me and saying that Al, he talked about loyalty a lot. Because he did say that on that ESPN Sports interview. I think it was with Jay Harris. He's sitting there like, saying, yeah, Izzo was the only one that stuck with me. And the reason why is because a lot of college coaches out there looked at me and said that, yeah, the rule is going to change that will allow Emoni to go from high school to the league. I'm not bothering to fly to Michigan to recruit this kid. Izzo and he called Mike Garland OG. He said OG and Izzo, they've been with me. They stayed with him. And from the loyalty quote, this is how I perceive that loyalty quote, Omar. I'm Emoni right now. Hey, guys, I'm probably not going to go to college and play basketball, but the fact that you put in so much time and so much effort into recruiting me, if I was to go to college, it would be, put on the hat, Michigan State University. That's how I interpreted the loyalty comment, because this is the thing too, this is the point I made on my show. The mere fact that Emoni Bates, the highest recruit since, high school basketball recruit since LeBron James decided to go to Michigan State, just that mere gesture, like, puts up the ears of other top high school basketball recruits out there that says that, dang, Emoni Bates chose Michigan State? Maybe I need to choose Michigan State as well. And it's going to be like, because of that decision, there's going to be this great profit that the program gets from it. So that's how I interpret it, man. But on the other side of me is like, man, there is some part of me that's just hoping, man, that it does happen. That'd be crazy. Like, my job will become like a stalker for Emoni Bates. So I don't know if I want to do that. That's probably another part why I'm rooting against this. I would be like stalking Emoni Bates
24/7 Emoni watch.
24/7, bro. I'll be on Emoni Bates watch. Like, oh, Emoni Bates went and got McDonald's today, guys. Yeah. Emoni Bates is going to class. It's like, I don't want to go through that. So, but no. I'm hoping that he does come here, and that'd be amazing stuff for the program and the school.
I can't agree with you more. Like, everything that you're saying so far, man, I would like give it like a like button too if you're like commenting right now, because it's amazing, man. No, seriously, man, right. I'm loving everything that you're saying. I agree with you 100% when it comes to that. And honestly, yeah. Tom Izzo probably told Emoni, like, hey, can you do this for me? At least, you know what I mean? If you don't decide to do it, obviously it's still up in the air. He probably really doesn't know what he wants to do yet. So he did that for him, classified, hey, like you said, if I'm going to go somewhere, it's going to be Michigan State University, let that be known. And maybe they even helped out the Max Christie signing, or like, you don't know what it could be. And
exactly.
And that's just huge for the university. It's huge for Tom Izzo. It's big for him. Just by him saying that, let alone if he comes, obviously, that's just another, blessing.
Huge payoff, right? Yeah. Just the mere fact that he said that and put Michigan State out there on the map like that, it does a lot. It does a lot recruiting-wise, man.
It does. So that's awesome, man. And he did that, and hopefully he does get to play for them, even though I'm with you, man. It's like an 80-20 thing, at least with me. I feel like 80% no, 20% yeah, and 20% is probably pushing.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, 80-20. I agree, man.
All right, so this one right here, man, kind of threw me off guard. Is how you a diehard Cowboys fan, and I don't know where this came from.
Oh yeah.
Because in this whole situation of you talking, I don't see Dallas being in your home city or anything like, or just in general. a place you visited or anything like that. So when did this happen? When did you become a Cowboys fan?
Yo, respect the star. How about them Cowboys, baby? I wish I had, man, my Cowboys hat. I got like 5 Cowboys hats. They're in my closet, though. I wish I had. Should have rocked the Cowboys hat just for that question, man. But, yo, this is what happens. And this happens to a lot of Detroit fans. We live in Detroit.
Yeah, you're right.
Who is our professional football team? Professional football team. The Detroit Lions, right? So growing up, Omar, my dad, you know, he tried his best to root for the Lions, man. But once he saw that it was just Barry Sanders and the Sandersettes, he just said, and they just kept losing year after year after year. You know, his other team to root for was the Cowboys. A lot of it had to do with the fact that, you know, the Cowboys are such a big brand. Shout out to Jerry Jones. You know, you say what you want about Jerry Jones, but he is an incredible marketer. For a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl since the 90s. Please change that around, football guys. But a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl since the 90s, to you know, not have that kind of recent success and still be on the televisions of so many, you know, garnering the nickname of America's team is pretty amazing. So they were on the TV so much. And during the 90s, let's be honest, they were dominant during the 90s. So they were really on the lips of a lot of people. My dad naturally fell in love with them. That fell into my lap, you know, being, you know, my dad was a fan. I became a fan of him. And that's how it happened, man. And it just rode it ever since, man. So, but it has been tough for us. I've had my heart broken many, many times. But at least we making the playoffs. Yeah. All right? And we'll see if Dak lives up to that franchise tag. Let's see if he lives up to he ain't getting no Patrick Mahomes money, but we'll see if he can live up to some kind of major contract for us, man.
Definitely.
So, yeah, but that's how that happened, man. My dad, that was like his team B, and it became my team A.
And you know what? Just a side note, Dallas made a mistake by not giving him a contract before that Mahomes contract, because that Mahomes contract it's great for Dak. Great for Dak. Dallas-wise, though, they definitely, I felt like they kind of probably are at home thinking like, dang, we should have definitely offered him a deal that he wanted, because he's going to get what he wants now, whether it's from Dallas or somewhere. Right. So
that's the thing, yeah. From a managerial standpoint, yeah. I mean, Dak is now looking at that contract, saying, "Man, I better be getting something crazy. Probably not that much, but you know what I mean." So we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens after this next season.
All right. Well, I got 2 more questions that I usually ask my guests. This is for everyone that I usually ask. Obviously, the first one is tell us about yourself, and then the next one is, what gets you up every morning? I know you talked a lot. Like you said, there's a lot of nuggets that you talk from your own stories that is very inspirational. But I guess, what is your motivation every morning? What is Al's motivation?
Purpose and this sickening drive to be the best at whatever I do. You know, my competitiveness is something I think that was bred from when I was really young, and my dad beating up and talking so much trash when I was competing against him. I've always been so darn competitive, and in journalism you kind of have to, right, Omar? I mean, that's why I was crazy enough to follow this passion of mine and this dream of mine, man. But a sickening, ridiculous drive and work ethic to be the best and to prove myself, you know, right. That I can do this. You know? And that's in regards to my broadcasting career, and also a lot more than with my acting career right now. I got to be honest with you. I have like this crazy motivation right now when it comes to my acting career to prove to myself that I can really be great at this, you know? But that's what gets me up in God, man. God, the mere fact when I open up my eyes, man, and I have use and activity of my limbs, and I have breath in my lungs, and I can see and hear, and I'm coherent. Man, that's just evidence, man, that God ain't done with me, and he got a lot more in store for me, man. So that's what gets me up.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. And then the last question I wanted to ask is, for someone who may be walking in the same or similar footsteps as you, or that want to walk in the same or similar footsteps as you, what advice would you give them? Motivate me.
You can do it. You can do it, dude. I mean, the biggest thing is preparation. For me, I had to learn, because especially with radio, I had never done an hour-long sports talk radio show. So, preparation. Poor preparation leads to piss poor production. You know what I mean? So you gotta wake up and do your homework, know the players, know the schedules. And if you got an opinion, back your opinion up. It amazes me when I'm having these sports debates and I'm just chewing